happening?
Yo. What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening?
Give me some good news, man. I feel like I ain't seen you or talked to you in
I know, man. Yeah. Shoot, man. It's been I've been busy. I mean, it's bought a house, remodeling a house here, still so the house in Puerto Rico that we bought was like 2 color shades of green. Awful, just terrible. And so, in the neighborhood, everything's there's a lot of different colors. They basically allow you to paint it just about any color. And so I know the guy that's head of the HOA, so I sent him the color code so I could get it approved. And then I hired him to start doing the work before it got approved. Yeah. And so they disapproved my color code. Huh. So I've got that to deal with when I get back to Puerto Rico. What y'all gonna do? Find me. You don't like my colors, so you don't like white and you don't like black. So, what color do you want me to fucking paint? This is stupid, dude. Like, I hate HOAs. I hate them. Hate them. But yeah, been doing a lot of that. And then I had 2 calls today on my calendar. I had 1 or 3. One already today. One was a throughway call, and then two were recruits. One came from watching the webinar, and it was clearly while I was out in St. Bart's that he must have watched it a couple of weeks ago, because the guy didn't call me, so I called the number. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know if it was somebody at EXP or somebody not at EXP or what. And he totally forgot he'd watched the webinar. It'd been so long because he had to wait while I was traveling for. So it's good to get back on calls, man. The last call I got off was a guy solely focused on agent attraction. Great conversation, doing his research, gets the model. And that's, something I told him as he was, as we were talking, was the people that have the biggest organizations never lose sight of talking about the opportunity. That's, it's easy to get focused on production and helping agents in production. We have to do that. But, you're looking for people like this guy. This guy's coming only for the opportunity. I ain't trying to go sell more houses. I own my own brokers. I did all that. I'm here for the opportunity. And I think sometimes we forget to mention that and keep that message out there so that it finds the right people that are coming over here because of the opportunity.
Yeah, it is. I think revisiting ICP, revisiting the ideal client, getting back into whatever, either you're using Vern's or Gino's strategic plan. And it's been good talking with Joel, getting Rejuve, because he's moving Sphere Rocket back over. They're going deep with Vern and Gazelles, and they're going to scaling up, which is where they need to be. I think traction in the VTO is good for getting to $1 million, multiple million. But if you're making runs at 10 and going over 10 million, you got to have scaling up. You got to have Vern, because there's some little nuances and there's some little metrics, little distinctions that really matter at that level. And so whatever plan you have, right? Like, if you're listening to this call and your life is in chaos, is one, you don't have a plan and you don't have a system. And it's been really good, man, going through choosing your enemies. But it's fun getting feedback, because I'm pushing everybody to read it, and then they're giving me feedback, what they're learning from it. And B-Town has gone through it twice, 3 times. I think he's on his 3rd time going through it. And he's like, Bitch. He's like, man, he goes, I can build any business I want just with that book. And I'm like, man, that's what these great business books do, build an empire.
Yep.
Like, we saw what did Clay get them to before they took money? Were they 40 million before they took money?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what, everybody listening in, they built a $40 million company off of one book, Beyond Entrepreneurship. They built a $40 million company off of Beyond Entrepreneurship, and then they went into Mastering the Rockefeller Habits.
Right.
So they had those two books, because when he signed the money with Goldman, he had Mastering the Rockefeller Habits was in the picture.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And I just remember Jeff. would come into those sessions with us. Clay's younger brother Jeff,
Yeah.
and he didn't go anywhere without Beyond Entrepreneurship. He had the blue book with him everywhere he went, and I think what I've seen over the last few years, and I know you've seen it too, is people, because business, it was just coming, right? And so people were very reactive, and it kind of forced them. If they didn't have systems, they're in complete chaos right now. But I think the ones that have systems are getting back to it. But I'm telling you guys, go grab those resource manuals, man. But I think choosing your enemies wisely really brings a bunch of those key ones in. But you got to have a framework. And I highlighted it and I put stars and everything around it and folded the tab. And in the systems piece, and he refers back to Moneyball, because for Bet David, Moneyball changed him as a CEO. And it's just really was, I simply couldn't outwork a bad system.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you guys listening in, man, you can't plug good people into a bad system either.
Yep.
You talk about losing people quick. And so thinking about, as you're attracting agents, if you don't, you're a system away. But if you have, like you're talking about, you got this great hungry, right? He's coming for the right reason. You better have a good system plugged in and get into the value as fast as possible. But my whole rant here was getting back to, man, revisiting who the real ICP is in today's market. And so you're getting back into the swing. You've had so many calls, talking to a lot of people. Who are you seeing is like, let's break it down for everybody again, right? Like, guys, you're looking for these type of people. They're the ones that are going to come in. They're going to do the work. FLQA. So I think it's a couple different things. Maybe kind of tee this answer. You can kind of go different ways.
Yeah. I try to answer.
And then you got builders.
Right. So there's a question in the comments there. What does a good system to attract agents look like? It looks like the training that everyone in this group has been given multiple times. If you haven't been to it, download the Rapid Funnel app. You can get that by going to honeybadgernation.com, and the training and the coaching tab, all the training is there. So all the training is built into the app that you download. It's called Rapid Funnel. Go to honeybadgernation.com to download that. That is the system, by the way, the system. So
it's there. It's all there. There is not one thing missing from that system. It is complete.
And you know, as when I get on a call with someone who's coming over and they're interested in agent attraction, I'm the happiest person in the world. Like, this is, you found me. Thank God you found me, because I've been looking for you. You know, and so, you know, and when I explained it to him, I was like, listen, I already know you get it. You told me you've been in real estate 25 years. You went independent. And he straight up told me, I understand the model. I'm not coming over because I want to sell more houses. I want to attract agents. Oh, that would be my ICP right there. Right. Yeah. So that's one ICP. I said, now here's the thing. 90% of people that come over to EXP and join your organization are going to want to go from their A to their B. Okay. That's going to be important that you understand that. But you still got to show everybody the opportunity side of it, because you don't know who's going to be the one that goes and follows it. You don't know who's going to be a Dan Hilsman or a James Massey or Levi McDonald or an Andre LaFountain. We don't know who's going to be those people. You don't know. A lot of people might tell you they're going to do it and they don't do it. But that's why you got to share the opportunity with everyone. You can't just share, hey, I'm going to help you sell more real estate. You got to share the opportunity with everyone. You also have to be able to add value to all the 90% of people that aren't going to ever attract an agent, or going to attract very few. But that was, you know, I said there's, you know, when I look at the grand landscape of EXP and who has the biggest organizations, and look at the top 50 to 100 in the company, there's some, I look for the anomalies. I look for the people that followed a process, right? Like, that didn't have a following on YouTube or didn't have an Instagram, you know, weren't Insta famous. Like, all of those are not duplicatable, right? So, like, if you can find people like that, heck yeah, go get those people, because they have a huge opportunity here. But it doesn't translate to the people that they attract the people, right? So like, that's the, you know, you want to find somebody that has a big network, has a lot of relationships, been in the game a long time, that's burned out after building a huge business for years, but has had some success at a pretty high level. Those are the ideal. That's the ideal ICP. This guy was literally the perfect ICP. I think they had to have done something significant in their own real estate business over a long period of time. I think the people that have the most relationships obviously have the biggest opportunity. And people that are coachable, it'll follow the process. Like those are the pieces, right? Like, can you imagine if Hillsman didn't make his list of people and have conversations with everybody he knew, he wouldn't have an organization of 1,000 people.
Right. And I think a good system too, especially with the system that's there, you got to come in and you got to trust it. And the thing that with small business, I don't want to say small business or entrepreneurs because it's not even doing justice to true entrepreneurs. Real estate agents, right? Because a lot of them ain't entrepreneurs. They're not business focused. They're just not. And so the biggest thing that they want to do is they want to try to, put their own little touch on it, right? They want to innovate with it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, imitate before you innovate. Like that has to go through. So the question is, what does a good system to attract agents look like? It is in honeybadgernation.com. It is in the app. It's there. The training's there. But guys, you have to trust it. You have to trust the process. Like, you don't need to understand it fully yet, but just trust the process. And what you'll start to see is then you can start having conversations with Jay, with me, with Hillsman, with all of these people that have trusted the process, and you're going to start to see more proof, right? So let's go back to the ideal offer situation, right? And part of that is you look at like Hermosis, right? So it's like, you take somebody's desire, and that you have a model, a bridge to get them from where they are, A to B, where they're at to where they want to go. But you have to have proof. And so like the proof is there. So trust the process. That's all I can tell you guys. A great system is a system that's duplicatable. It truly is the system that will set you free. It's duplicatable and it's profitable. That's a great system. And so trust the process. That's all I can tell you guys. Jump in there and trust.
I told this guy too. I said, listen, you want me to tell you how you're going to fail if you come over to EXP with the goals you told me? You want me to tell you how you're going to fail? He said, yeah. Why don't you tell me? So I said, you're going to skip steps in the process. You're going to say, this is too simple. It's too easy. It can't be that easy. And you're going to literally skip steps. The way I'll know that you're going to be successful is you will be scheduling three-way calls with me. Because I don't care where you join. You join my organization, join somebody else's, I don't care. But if you're not doing three-way calls with somebody, I would be willing to bet that you're not going to be nearly as successful as you could have been. And most likely you'll lose interest in it and go do something else. Yeah. And so, I just want to hit him, punch him right in the nose and be like, listen, I mean, just do what we showed you. Like, good Lord, like it's not that hard. Right?
I'm going to throw it out there, but then I'm going to have you explain why three-way calls are so important. But here's the thing, guys. Skipping steps only presents the illusion of speed. Mm-hmm. Every time you skip a step, you're going to get a lesson. And the lessons is part of the process. And it's like I love I don't know if you've caught Ed had Andy on last week, 2 weeks ago, and it was fantastic. They were sitting in Andy's garage, around all the cars and everything. And he had Ed sipping on bourbon, so it was pretty good. But Andy goes, people that have made all the money within like 2 years, I don't trust them. I don't trust them because they ain't learned the lessons yet.
Amber, sorry, the meatloaf. I want it now. On the front porch, the DoorDasher said the dog was on the front porch.
Little meatloaf. But that's what he was talking about, right? So it's like, guys, man, just trust the process. And so if you skip it, like you said, man, you might find some success, but it ain't duplicatable.
Yeah.
And you're going to try it again and it ain't going to work. And eventually you're going to give up. And so I think it's so key, man, to be able to have that. But couple minutes here, man, and explain how come those three-way calls are so critical.
Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, well, it's first of all, I think one of the main components of the reasons it works is the psychology, right? Like anytime you're in a selling environment, someone's trying to sell you anything, there's resistance, right? So when you're trying to answer all their questions and you're getting all excited and talking about EXP, they're hearing it through the voice of you're trying to recruit me, right? Yeah. And so it creates a barrier, it creates a wall. And so when you get someone to watch a video and be like, listen, if I can get you on a call with that person, listen, they know how this works. They're making a ton of money. They've helped a ton of agents sell more real estate. They can help you with your goals. If I can get them on a call, would you be open to it? And then they get on that call. They don't expect me to try to recruit them, right? Like that's not there's a disconnect in understanding, oh, well, he's the upline and he's going to get paid too. That's not how they're thinking about it. They're thinking, okay, sure, what I have to lose? I'll get on the call and we'll talk. And then there's a methodology that, the way that call is designed to go to get people to move to action. And, right. You hear it enough times and you'll be able to do one too, but you need to hear it a few times. Tell me what you like about what you saw. Now they're telling me what they like about what they saw. So now I know they were interested in the rev share. They were interested in, whatever, right? Whatever piece that they were interested in. And so there's a process there that's happening that's allowing you to not have to sell and put yourself in a situation where there's resistance. And, I can tell you that if you've done, thousands of three-way calls like I have, you get pretty good at them. You just naturally get better at them. Like, It's not real hard. Tell me about your situation. What are you trying to accomplish? Okay. I'm just trying to get them to, genuinely just trying to help, right? Like no other agenda. I'm not trying to recruit you. Tell me where you're at and where you're trying to get to. I've probably seen it 1,000 times and I've probably helped 1,000 people get through that process. And I think I can help you too. And so that's I think there's an authenticity that comes across in that. I think it opens up the gate of the mind a little wider to what they don't know that they don't know. It doesn't put you in the position of creating a resistance, like you're trying to recruit them, like you're desperate to recruit them. And I think that's the key. Anybody can get someone on a three-way call. It's easier to get someone to jump on a call with you're selling somebody else as the goat that's going to help you, than it is to try to convince them to come to EXP like you did, right? Like that's just a harder sell. And so I think that's, the psychology of it is a huge piece of it.
I think it's a massive piece to it. The story I always like to tell as an eye opener, especially with, knowing us and if they know Michael, is, man, I remember us cranking hardcore, 2010, 2011. I mean, we had, accolades, the team bought in, the team believed in us. I mean, all that stuff. And, we're going through, we're developing CHSA, CHBA, like we're teaching the team, like they're our guinea pigs. They're going through whatever. We're saying the same thing. Michael dips into town, comes in, does his little magic trick, but says word for word what you and I have been saying for months.
Right.
And the sales team goes, oh my gosh, it was the greatest thing ever. And I remember looking at you and we just started laughing. And I was like, well, whatever it takes to land. And so that's also, it's the psychology around it, right?
Yeah.
And especially if you have the more you know them, the more of a relationship, the less they're going to listen to you, the less they're going to really buy into it. And especially if they hear you saying it all the time, right? It's that repetitiveness, and they just maybe need it reframed a little different, even though they say the same thing. They're just reframing it a little bit different. It resonates. And I think their guard is down, like you said. Their guard is down on those three-way calls. And the thing, guys, for everybody listening in, where I've seen the biggest mistakes is that you try to answer it on your own.
Yeah.
And the thing is that what I've seen is that they immediately go in what they're excited about with EXP. Mm-hmm. And the other person listening, they might have asked, but all they're hearing is noise, because what they're really listening for is, how does this help me solve my problem?
Right.
And so you always got to remember what's in it for them. What's in it for them. And I think some of, the conversations that have really opened up, for me has always been, hey, I mean, I can give you all the reasons why I love it, how it's worked for me and the problems it solved for me. However, it's like a buffet. There's so many things here that can really apply to you. I mean, tell me a little bit more about what you're trying to do. What are you trying to accomplish? What's the biggest sticking point for you? And then they'll open up, and then it's, I love how Sean always says this. What's Sean's role? VP of Growth, US?
VP of Growth.
Yep. So his deal is like, hey man, listen. And this is like one of the best lines. If it's not in the training, we got to make sure it's in the training. Mm-hmm. It's like, listen, man, I can sit here and I can tell you all the things that I love and things that I know for hours, but yet all that's going to do is confuse you even more. I got a friend that if I could get him on the phone with us, he could articulate exactly what you're trying to solve in probably 5 minutes. If I could make that happen, would you jump on with him? Do you think that would be worth 15, 20 minutes of your time?
Right. Such a beautiful transition.
It's amazing. And then they go, of course. And then guess what Sean gets to do? He gets to go back building rapport with them. Mm-hmm. He gets to then make a friend. He gets then to find out more about them. But he ain't answering questions because he's got a friend that's going to do that. Right. Yeah. And it's good.
It's absolutely
that's one of the best ones, man. I think too, man, the more you build rapport with them, you got that friend, you're going to set it up. I think it also in that transition with the 3-way call, how you kind of position that person. And I think it's super key how you position it to make sure that person is going to help answer and solve that person's problem.
Right.
Because that's all they care about.
Yeah. And, the thing is too, John, the thing is that they got to believe, in order for somebody to change companies, they got to believe somebody is going to help them solve their problems, not that it's just going to get solved. And they're buying into not just the company, the business model and everything else. They're buying into, okay, I believe y'all can really help me. That's what they're buying into.
Yeah.
And so they have, that's going to be hard for you to convey. They're going to always look at you and look at your production. It's not much better than mine. How are you going to help me? Like that's the noise going on in their head. But when you get somebody on a call with somebody that's actually doing better and that actually has a track record of helping other people do better, that's a lot more believable. Like, okay, everything is, the boxes are getting checked here. I don't get this where at my company. I'm not going to get that. This is great. This is better. This is better. Like, cool. So they do that call. If it goes well, it always ends the same way every time. Okay, what's the next steps? Like that's what you're trying to get to.
Shift gears with me here for a second. And because just kind of going back to the building blocks that, Vern talks about it. We had to do it every time in strategy. Bet David, it's the logical side to your enemy is your competitor. And your competitor can also be your enemy. Getting to kind of look at competition, Glenn, he disrupted with EXP. And so now you're starting to see a lot of deflectors that have ran off and we understand, man, this is the platform of the future moving forward for real estate, right? Yep. The others are just relics. They're dinosaurs. I mean, they'll relics have a place as well.
There's still one Blockbuster somewhere. I remember seeing it online.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's still a place. There's still people that the nostalgia and where they want to go. Yet we know that there's 24 copycatters. Mm-hmm. I think what would go say 22, 23, somewhere in there. And it feels like a new one's popping up all the time. And it's essentially the entrepreneur in them that wants to they believe in the platform model. They just think that they could tweak it a little bit and make it more their own. And I remember, I mean, you and I early on, and we were just sitting there like, man, we could recreate this. We could add this into our partnership. Or do we just say like, man, this dude's doing all the heavy lifting for us. Why don't we just jump on, hook our wagon to his wagon and go for a ride?
Yeah.
But I think, you know, there are those, right? There's always, you know, there's Coke, there's Pepsi, right? There's, you know, you got that strong competitor. I mean, for us, I mean, it was Pam and Barry. I mean, they pushed us every day. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good to have, you know, that competition pushing at you. Not for somebody that wants to build an organization. I'm talking about somebody that has a small team. They want to build maybe not a mega team, maybe get to a mega team status, 10, 12, 15 agents. What's the main thing that they've got to understand, because they're getting hit so hard with these up and coming deals? They're being promised the moon. I think the best handles that we can give to everybody listening into this would be, man, ask these questions, and here's why these are important. What would you say to somebody to kind of vet out and think about from a question basis?
Man, well, the first thing, you know, I would say, you know, and kind of answering your question before that one really more so is you know, what is the community? Who are the people that you're joining, and what are they doing, and are they playing at a level that's higher than you? And that's a big piece of it. So like, there's, you know, if you're just wanting to go build a team and you want to be around people that have been, you want to be around a bunch of people, successful people building teams that have built teams. And I mean, that's how we've all become successful. This call I had earlier this morning was a young kid. He didn't even remember scheduling the call. And, you know, I sent him an email afterwards. He was like really grateful that I called him. And I said, yeah, man, I said, you're on the right path. He said at the end of the year, I felt like I needed a mentor this year. He did 11 deals last year or something like that. Young kid. Yeah. And I said, let me tell you, the secret to my success has been finding good mentors. And a good mentor is someone who's not only done what you want to do, but has a track record of success of helping others do it too. Yeah. And I think that's true in what you should be looking for if you're going to be switching brokerages. Who there has a track record of helping other people like you get to those goals. And you know, that's, you know, we've done it thousands of times with people that join here, and before we were at EXP. We have a track record of success of not just doing what it is you're trying to do, but we've helped a lot of other people do it too. And that's a really big difference when you go join a brokerage over the opportunity, and there ain't nobody, and you're on an island, or you're at the top of the food chain. You know, you might as well be on an island. So, yeah. You know, there's not, you know, you come over here to EXP and, you know, you think you're selling a lot of houses when you're selling, you know, 1,800, and you're not even in the top 10 people. I mean, that's just crazy. But that's the power is in, you know, the collaboration, and you know, that's how we've always learned. We just had to pay to learn those lessons. Here, you don't have to pay to do that. And so I think that's, you know, how are you going to help me is one thing. And then, you know, you always listen twice, you know, first to what's being said and second to who's saying it, and really have to try to understand what's their motivation for saying that, because people will make stupid ass promises to try to get you to come over, and then you'll find out that wasn't going to be true. And so, like, you know, I already know, you know, what one person was saying to this particular guy that I was talking to earlier, you know, about being able to give him FLAs, basically give them to him. And I said, okay, well, if that's true, then why don't you talk to, you know, all of his people in his organization and see how many they've all been given, right? That's probably a good question to ask before you buy into that, because, you know, people tell you anything, but, you know, let's talk to enough people. And, you know, are you going to be one of those people, or are you going to be one of the people that didn't get anybody? I don't know. But I think you have to have, you really vet it out. That's why I appreciated this guy that got on the call with me, because I don't know how many people he talked to, but I can tell he talked to a lot of people. And so, you know, he'd made a bunch of promises too. And he was asking me about those promises. I said, well, I would do the research. I would talk to him. So he wanted to talk to a few people that we had helped using our process. And I gave him some names, and I'm sure he'll call them and, you know, and do your research, right? Like, don't just use hope as a strategy. You know, like when Murphy left, that was not good. I was pissed off about it. But to hear her try to explain it, was even more frustrating because
Right.
we helped her go from 70 deals to almost 300 transactions, which is what she wanted to do, even though we told her that's not what you really want to do. And then she said when she got to that level, you're right. This is what I want to do. I should have been doing raised attraction. And so, and then there's this false belief that, it's going to be easier over here because, there's not as many EXP agents or da 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 da. Okay. Well, how many people have you recruited since you've been there? Probably not very many. Yeah. It's not easier. Don't ask for it to be easier. Ask for you to be better.
You get down into the semantics of it as far as, how to make the math work from a team. Is it pretty much, is there anything drastic, or is it pretty much all the similar that you're seeing amongst the competitors across the board?
I have not heard an objection on the math for teams and megas, unless it's like a small average sale price town like Lawton.
Yeah.
That would be the only time that it's ever come up as a real challenge. For some of the mega icon teams, it's kind of always a no-brainer for them. They always mess up the math though somehow. I don't know. I really don't know the disconnect on how that happens, but they almost always do it wrong.
Right. Explain what that means. Somebody's hearing that maybe for the first time. They're like, the math. How do you mess up the math?
They start looking at, okay, we put my company into, at EXP, this is the fee structure. I'm paying a 16 cap. A lot of times they think that they've got to pay, their agent's portion of what gets paid into EXP. That mistake I've seen happen a lot.
Right.
So they just don't know, and again, this is sometimes even some of the best business people we've ever coached, not the best ones, but most of the people we coached, I would say, they didn't know their numbers for shit. No. So they don't really know how to do the math. They don't really do the math now. So,
right.
So they don't know, okay, this is going to be better or worse. And so they start thinking of expenses and splits and things, and they're just not accurately assessing the difference between where they're at and when they come over to EXP. And so that's, I think, you have to help some people with that. Yeah. So they don't do it wrong. And they have to get to a place where they want to know the math too, right? Like, I can't help you if you ain't trying to do the math. If you ain't trying to figure out the math yet, then you ain't interested enough for me. Yeah. Because I can't build your business for you. I can't, I'm not gonna, look at your P&Ls every week and help you run a business. Like, you either understand this is a better deal for you, or you don't understand it, and we can talk about it. But you have to do the math. Right. And I can help you do the math if you want to do the math, but it's, that's something I think is you want to get them to a level of excitement and the opportunity that they're trying to do the math, and then you don't want to lose them at that point. You want to make sure that it gets done correctly. So you leverage the company resources for that, and they'll do it all for them.
Dude, that's such a good point, man. And I think it's the balance of emotion and logic get out of whack, right? They're not balanced, and that's why I keep coming back to choose your enemies wisely. How Bet David puts the business plan. You got your 6 building blocks. You got 6 that are emotion, 6 that are logic, and I think that's where I see a lot of agents where they get tripped up, and especially agents that move a lot, is that they move on a lot of emotion, but they don't do the math to bring the logic and balance things out. And so you got to be excited. You got to have the enthusiasm. You got to believe that you can accomplish your dreams within that vision, with what that company, right? They're selling the vision. That's what these guys are doing out there, right? They're selling the vision. And the dreamers are like, yeah, man, I think I can achieve my dreams by being a part of that. The emotion gets them, but where they got to put themselves in check is they got to make sure that the math and the logic makes sense. Yep. And I think that's
so true, dude.
Component, man.
So true. It's such a great point. Like, I see it happens all the time. Man, we're going to be the next EXP. We're going to be the next EXP. And you want to believe that. So you're like, man, I want to miss out on the next EXP. Like, this is going to be great. Yeah. But it's not. It's not the same. It's not the same. The math isn't the same. The stock's not the same. None of that's the same. And when you really do the research and you get out of the emotional that it does play to the point of what you said a second ago that I think is really important is, and we did, I think, a pretty good job of this is along the way is getting people excited. Like enthusiasm is important. Like, you know, and I pretty well stay freaking enthusiastic all the time. Like,
yeah.
It's just who I am. I remember the very first listing that I won. It was a FSBO, very first FSBO or expired that I won. I beat Pam Marion on a listing finally, and it was the very first one. And I called them because I always would call them right and do the autopsy, whether they listed or didn't. And I said, hey, I just want to know why did you decide to list with me? Like, I didn't say it while I was there with them. Like, I was like, that would have been awkward, right? So like, I called it back after the house was on the market. I'm like, hey man, just want to know, why did you guys decide to hire me? And they said, well, we just, man, you were just really enthusiastic and we just really picked you up. I was like, no shit. That's it. And the market was down. And I think the other agents that came through were belly aching about the market and this and the other. I stayed positive the whole time. Like,
yeah,
like if the market's good or bad, like I can still be enthusiastic about trying to help people. And that it was a big takeaway I had then. And I still, to this day, I try to carry a lot of enthusiasm in everything I do in every conversation. And I think if you don't have that, you're gonna have a hard time lighting that. It's like trying to hit rocks together in a fire. You gotta get them excited, and they should be excited. Like,
I should be excited, man. It's the rapport thing, and to your point, calling and beating Pam. I remember the flip side of it, right? When you went head to head with our business partner Barry, and that's when we were just really vetting out like the logical side of it, right? You're going in numbers, very dry, very logical. And I remember you coming back and you're like, I think I got it. But if I do lose it, it's because I didn't build rapport. And that's why, we took that, right? So guys listening, I mean, if you guys have not gone through you want a system, like you're missing a system for listing side and buy side, CHSA, CHBA. And I remember this, we factored that into CHSA. We're like, okay, you can't miss the rapport phase before you get into the logic.
Yeah, you're going to lose that listing. You're going to
lose it every time. So that enthusiasm, pour. Then let's get into the logical side of things. So I think this is a good segue. Brian O is asking, okay, should we show why partner with us? Get them excited, the community, before getting into explaining the model. Like, is there a sequence that you want?
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, so here's my, I feel like I've been saying it forever, and I probably still haven't said it enough. But like, if you guys understand, like, the whole partner with they don't want to join a company. That's not what they want. They don't even want to look at EXP. They already think they know what it is. You're already at a disadvantage if you're trying to show them Brett Go's video, because A, someone could have already showed it to them. B, they don't think that a brokerage is the solution to whatever their problem is. And if they're open to it, that's fine. But most people, you're going to run into a lot more roadblocks with that. If you can show people how by partnering with us, we're going to help them grow their business and go from their A to their B. And they tell you, hey, I'm trying, this is what I want to do. I did 10 deals last year. I want to do 20. Oh my God, I got to show you this. Like, I'm going to send you a video. It's going to blow your mind. So is it about EXP? No, it's not about EXP. It's about my partners at EXP and how they help agents grow and help them grow their business. And it's an opportunity of a lifetime. You have to watch it. Based on everything you're telling me, you're going to love it. You're going to literally be up pacing, walking back and forth, and you're not going to sleep tonight after you see this. And because nobody has seen that video like that, they haven't seen that video. And so the segue into it is setting the table for the people that are struggling and don't have any help or support, and getting them. It's trying to help do the job of you should be doing of getting them enthusiastic about watching the video in the first place. Like, they're not going to sit down and just watch a 40-minute video because you tell them if you don't get them really excited to do it, right? And it's only 23 minutes, not 40 minutes. But you got to get them excited to do that. So there's a sizzle video that tees it up. Again, there's some psychology and things that are built into that, and then it just talks about what it is we do, how we help agents, and everything they're going to get on top of just, now let me show you the business model of EXP and how we're able to do this. Like, the reason we're not going to ask you if you get your credit card out. And so like that is, to me, is a way easier way to attract agents than try to convince somebody that EXP's model is going to change their business when they already have preconceived, beliefs around what they think it is, even though they're wrong. It just is a harder way to do it, I think. Yeah. So, the partner video is is a segue into it segues to the EXP version of that content once we show them how we're going to actually help them sell more real estate, which is what they're looking for the most part. So yeah, good question, Brian.
Love it. Love it. You guys tuning in, man. If you have any questions, throw them in. We'd love to unpack and help you guys gain a little more clarity, give you a little more insight, get you make sure you're moving in that known direction, and anything that we could do to help you guys build some momentum. But just remember, guys, honeybadgernation.com is a go-to resource. Everything is there. Everything there at Honey Badger Nation. Be able to get into the trainings, be able to get into the app, be able to, the calendar, just things that we've got coming up, trainings, all the value add each and every week. We're a man down. He's out doing epic shit with epic people.
Yeah, hell yeah, he is. I love it.
Me too, man. It's
I can't wait to hear the the consensus of what all the ski places that he liked the most or whatever. So
yeah.
Big Sky, Montana looked like today. Yeah,
it was cool, man. Just that first post getting into Jackson Hole. I was like, yep, I know where that is.
Yep. We've done a bunch of epic shit over the years.
Yes, some cool spots.
Yeah.
Cool spots. Guys, tune in. Make sure that Honey Badger Nation, make sure you get these calls locked in your calendar. We've got this call, the three of us every Tuesday, noon Eastern, and then 11 Central. We've got Expert Mentors Live. I mean, we're almost to episode 250, which is crazy. So we've got that every Wednesday, noon, 1 Eastern. And then we've got Wally does training at 11. I think it's 11 Eastern, 10 Central every Thursday, and then Braden Funnel Fridays every Friday. So there's training, there's something there every day for you guys. Just make sure all the resources, times, everything. How do you get on those calls? Everything's at honeybadgernation.com. Question was video referencing the modelexplain.com.
No, that's the video everybody has. It's about EXP. The video that we're suggesting that you send is the one that we developed. And it's in the app. So in honeybadgernation.com, download the app, go to click on a contact, send resources, and then under engage, there's the one that says sizzle. That is a 1 minute teaser that will then take them to the partner explained video, which is also, you can go directly to that if you wanted to, but I would recommend using the sizzle, because the sizzle takes them to that video. And if they watch that one, then they have an option to watch a whole bunch of other videos where we're keeping them in our net so that they're watching all stuff we want them to see and not off watching somebody else's stuff. And so you want to keep them you keep a fence around them once they're consuming that content. And that's how we use the app for that. So.
Boom. Love it. Good question. Cause anything that you wanted to kind of shout out to?
Yeah, I got one thing. So I've been working on something for about a year now. Man, I've kept my powder dry on this one. And it's getting close. I'm not there yet, but in about 30 days, I'm gonna have something pretty fucking badass to share with everybody. That's I think this is gonna be the best thing I could have worked on for an entire year. So definitely it's going to help a lot for a lot of agents, and I'm super excited about it. And part of, the success we've had here at EXP is kept me from making decisions in directions that are known directions I don't want to go in. Right. So there's all kinds of opportunities, all kinds of things you can say yes to. And I'm very aware of the secondary impact of some of those, saying yeses. Yes. And so I pushed off a lot of things because it didn't feel right, and I didn't feel like it was the right thing. It was gonna be the most value that I could bring to the table. And so, and it's a lot of times maybe not in alignment with growing the group. And so, I finally found something that I could get behind, and really we can beef up what we're doing and get results for more agents, not just in production, but also in agent attraction. And so it's coming down the pipe. I'm not ready to announce it yet, but just be on the lookout. You won't miss it. You won't.
I love it. It's awesome. Yeah. Guys, appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. Any questions, anything that you guys have for us, just throw it in the group or DM us or honeybadgernation.com.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Have a great week.
See ya.
See ya.